This is lesson 4 with Mr. Lawrence. This is drawing an isometric box using the bird's foot. Today we're going to be drawing 3D boxes and then making shapes out of those boxes. You can see the thing that all these drawings have in common is that the corner is closest towards you and they have 3 lines coming from the corner. Put that aside for the moment. Right, have a look at this shape. If I hold it like this, you can see that 1, 2, these 3 lines all come to the corner. So if I drew a corner there and line like that, that would be how we'd start this drawing. So this is called the bird's foot. Let me start off like this. Alright, so what angle are these? Let me show you. The actual isometric angles are, it means 30 degrees from the horizon. So we'd have a line here, here and here. So, without one of these protractors, how do we guess the right angles to get started with our drawing? If you can imagine a pizza, then let's draw a quarter of a pizza. And then I imagine dividing that into 3 equal pieces, roughly, like that, like that. There's my cheesy crust. Then you can see this angle here is roughly 30 degrees. It really doesn't matter if it's a bit more or a bit less. That lets us start off our bird's foot. So, to draw a bird's foot, we draw a line roughly 30 degrees, roughly 30, and straight up and down. Okay, so let's get started. Grab a sheet of paper, draw your border, like that, and we'll call this 4 cubes in isometric. Don't forget your name. Good? Right, I'm going to get you guys to put 4 dots on the page. 2 across the bottom, like that. Come about halfway up and put 2 more above it. Alright, bird's foot. This one's easy, straight up and down. Do the same thing in all our boxes. Remember the third of a slice of pizza up, about that angle. Go ahead and do all of them, like that. Now that we've started all our 4 boxes, we're going to extend some lines out. Now remember to make these lines really light. So I'm going to tip the pen over, light line, light line, light line. Do the same thing on all of your boxes. Because they're guidelines, they only need to be rough. Okay, so we've started all of our 4 drawings now. Next step, mark off how high on this one. Don't go too high or you won't have room for the top of the box. Let's go about there. You can make them all slightly different sizes if you want, some taller, some shorter. Alright, now the next trick, same angle as this direction, draw another line. Always make your lines long. If you make them too short, you can't see whether they're parallel, so long line, long line. Next step, mark off round about how long you want your cube. So I think I'll go about here and about there. Now obviously this one's too short. You're going to need to make that side longer. I think that one looks about right. So where those 2 lines cross over and these 2 cross over, we're going to go criss cross. Remember these lines are all on the same angle and these ones all on the same angle. So that's your isometric box. Before you darken it in, let's do some little radiuses on the corners, like that. No sharp corners here. Bring your pen upright and firm it in. Let's make it a dice. 2 there, 3 there. A little bit of colour. Lightly shade it all the way through. Then choose one surface, maybe this one, and we'll darken it in a little bit further down like that. Okay, next cube. We're going to go over to here. So we're going to start with exactly the same process. Light line, mark how long you want your box. Too long, that looks about the side of a cube. And out here, you get better with practice. Most beginners, by the way, do these lines on an angle like that. You've really got to look at the side of your page to see where vertical is. Find the two spots where they join over and intersect, crisscross at the back. Okay, so you can see my cube. We're going to make this one into something, cash register. So we're going to go halfway along this line, put a mark. Join those two marks together, like that, and take these lines back and back. Remember, always on the isometric angle. From here and here we'll join. Darken in the rest of your object, like that. And let's make it a robot face. So we've got some eyes here, got a mouth, nose. Let's shade it in. So grab your pencil, get it over on its side, not up like that, it makes lines. Now, when we put a light shade through the whole lot, it's called a number 1 value. So we'll just lightly go through the whole thing. Then we pick a side and we make it a bit darker. I'm going to choose this side. So we're going to go like this, a little bit darker, and then fade out towards the bottom so it's not so even. We'll fill in little bits. Tell you what makes the drawing look good too is just if you just darken in the edge, just once around the edge like that. It's because around the edge, as it curves away from you, it doesn't get so much light. And just bring that up, make a little bit more contrast between there. There we go. For interest, to make these two look a bit different, you could just a tiny bit of colour in there and fade out. Don't overwork it. Okay, so there's our robot. Next drawing, we're going to go some steps. So start off on here. Same thing as before. Let's go, I'm going to make a bigger cube actually there. Line. Mark off the sides, like that. Remember, long lines. Mark off the side, not long enough there, long line. Where these two cross over, same thing. Criss, cross. Let's darken those in a bit for you. Alright, now before we darken it in, we're going to go halfway along here, halfway along there. Instead of connecting, we're going to go down, straight down, and from here, straight back on our isometric angle, like that. And I'm going to firm that one in. So that is the shape on this side. Now, each corner will have an isometric line going back at this angle. So we've got one there. Let's generate one there. Let's do one here. Don't know how far back that goes. Do one to there. Now you can kind of see that this line here has a partner line up here. So from there, draw a line down until it crosses there. Or from here, that line has a partner line. That one must start from here. So it's going to come back to there. Now you can see where we're going. We're going to darken in all of these lines, including the top. A little bit of shadow underneath if you like. And it's time to colour it, which is called rendering. Let's grab a different colour here. I'm just going to do that to make it nice and blunt there. Now I'm going to put my number 1 value right through this drawing. Try and make a nice even coat of colour if you can. Do your lines all in the same direction, don't go crisscrossing like this. Okay, so you can see now we're going to darken this side in, parallel with the top, darken him in, and then fade out. Alright, so let's add a little bit of line right around the outside. Now this looks a bit all the same, so I might just make a little bit of contrast between there. See the way I'm colouring in the same direction as the lines? Let's do the same thing here. Rendering's all about putting light next to dark. Putting light next to dark, light next to dark. That's all you really need to know. If you wanted a little bit of reflection on the top, something like this. If you want it to look shiny. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay, next drawing, we're going to start off with a cube, and we're going to cut part of that away. We're going to make a tent. So, with my drawing here, same thing as before. Actually, let's make it bigger. Let's go that tall. Light lines. Light lines. Let's come out to there, and out this side to there. Maybe a bit longer. Find your 2 points at the top, criss, cross. Don't worry if it goes over your other drawing. Okay, so the next step, we're going to go to the front of the tent here. I'm going to ask you to find halfway. I'm going to ask you to find halfway, halfway. We'll do a guide line there. And we're going to, this is the tip of the tent. We're going to draw a line in from there to there. We're going to draw a line from there to there. So that is the front of the tent. Now we need to take all of those lines back at this angle. So we've got one here. Bring this one back till it hits there. Boom. Let's take this one back till it hits there. You can see just as I've joined these two, I need to join these two. So we'll darken those ones in like that. Now, how to make it look like a tent? Just a few little wobbly lines like that. We'll make it look like it's got some creases. We'll do maybe some little tent flaps at the front there, with a few crinkles there. We could probably, that means it's darker inside than the outside. Let's do some ropes. So from here, let's follow these lines down until wherever you like and add a tent peg. Same thing. Boom, down there, tent peg, and maybe one coming from the front. Let's add a little bit of colour in there. Okay, let's go number 1 value. Right through the tent. Let's think if this came out a bit further, a little bit of shadow under there, like that. Let's, remember, dark next to light. Let's darken that up a little bit. Your rough crinkles. Don't forget to do your, what's called your cutting line right around the outside. If you cut it out with a pair of scissors, you cut right around there. And darken that a little bit in there if you want. And there we go, 4 shapes. Enjoy.